we now have the most extreme lobby that we've ever seen. There is a very smart individual out there that was able to create a custom portal that gives you full progression. So full XP for your rank, your weapons, vehicles, everything.
Hello, this is Driveways. Yesterday I hopped back on Battlefield 6 and noticed that several thousand people across the world had discovered my private bot testing mode. So I've had a lot of people reach out to me to ask, how is this working? How did I make this crazy custom mode where all this stuff's enabled? Honestly, I'm surprised other people haven't made modes like this on their own. I didn't realize that this was the only custom experience where people were seeing experience, and I've talked to other people on Discord and they've made similar modes and they've had experience turned on, so I'm not sure why theirs didn't blow up at all. But anyways, I'm a little reluctant to just share this code for how this works out to everybody and have people creating their own modes, because when that happens, Portal gets bogged down with just thousands and thousands of these farm servers, and people who want to play like a legit mode with their friends can't spawn an instance to play on that. The other side of this is that the manually spawned AI spawner bots, since they have player controllable behavior, in the future, if we want to make some really cool modes where there's like players and NPC bots and you're interacting and fighting and doing whatever with them, if we want players to play those modes, those bots need to give experience. And if there are all these servers out here which are exploiting those bots, I just feel like DICE is just going to come in with the banhammer and just take out XP for everything all in one swoop. So as a middle ground, what I'm going to do is not just paste my code out and paste my spatial JSON out for everybody to see it, but I will walk through how it's done. So if anybody wants to learn how to make this stuff work in Portal, it's all pretty easy. Hopefully some people out there will learn a little bit of coding, and hopefully it'll take a little while for this to get implemented so the spread of it won't go too far before DICE makes whatever changes they feel are necessary. All right, let's get into it. A couple of days ago, DICE turned back on experience for bots in Portal experiences. And as part of that change, they turned on experience for what they said was verified modes, but it turns out at the same time, custom modes as well, if they have a script included with them, also have experience turned back on. So to get to the core of how this mode works, you need to understand that there are two types of bots in Portal in Battlefield 6. There are the standard bots that the game introduces when you try to backfill or have a static number of bots included in the game. When these spawn in, they just have a default Battlefield behavior where they go after objectives, they try to shoot players, they try to do all that basic stuff. There's another kind of bot included, which is called just a manual bot or an AI spawner bot. By default, these have no behavior. They will try to shoot you if they see you, but they won't really try to move around or go to objectives or do anything like that. So what this mod does is it takes a bunch of AI spawners on the map and uses those to spawn bots in, and then just places them in a line. And it turns off their targeting, and it turns off their shooting ability, and it sets their health to 1. For bot alignment, I just went into the Godot editor and moved an object around until it was roughly in the start of this intersection. Then moved it to the back of the intersection and recorded the transform placement values at both locations, and then hard-coded those locations into my script. So once we have the start and endpoints of the alignment vector, we take that and turn it into a unit vector of length 1. And then we can use that unit vector to space and align our bots along that dimension off into infinity. When a bot spawns in, it gets assigned to a free slot, and when it dies, that slot gets freed and a new bot is immediately spawned. Positioning is pretty simple. Once the bot has their assigned spot, we just teleport them to that location. That's why vehicles have been blowing up if you run into the bots, because when a bot gets teleported to the same location as a vehicle, the vehicle is destroyed. That is pretty much all there is to it. There's a little bit of setup logic here at the start to statically define all our positioning vectors, so we're not creating a whole bunch of new objects all the time. There are some memory leaks in the Portal API, so I'm trying to do my best to avoid any of those that I can. And then there's this funky little loop setup here where I'm iterating over the 64 statically positioned spawners that I set up in Godot. All the bots are being spawned as a previous bot dies, and the game doesn't like spawning multiple bots from the same spawner per tick, it also seems to maybe have a limit on the number of bots it wants to spawn from a particular spawner. So with this method, the number of bots per spawner is limited, and we're using the least recently used spawner each time we spawn a new bot. All right, so that is all there is to it. I'll leave the video at that. Hopefully some people out there can use this knowledge for good, create some new fun Portal modes, and hopefully DICE does not totally crush our hopes for a future where we can have experiences in Portal with bots that give XP.